Good morning, everyone, or good afternoon, or good evening, wherever you are. Another live. Hi. It's good to be here with you guys again. Hello. Hello, hello, hello. Good morning. Where are you guys located? Where are you at 5 a.m. in Hawaii? From India, hello. New Orleans. Good morning, Pete Jakar. Thank you for the badge. Ontario, Canada. Korea. I'm sitting in a swing chair outside by bird feeders. Indiana, Latvia, Finland. I will be coming to the Netherlands next year for my book tour. Napa, Sedona. I'm going to be doing a 2-day retreat in Sedona in November. Russia, Melbourne, Albania. What's Albania a lot? Scotland. I'm going to Scotland in 2023 for the book tour. And the Netherlands. Yay. Portland, Oregon. Austria. Denmark. Montana. Oof, I love Montana. I went to college in Montana. I went to college in Bozeman. And then I moved after college from Bozeman to Whitefish. I lived in Whitefish for, about 2 years. And I worked in wilderness therapy programs for adolescents. So I took kids out for a month at a time in the wilderness. South Germany. Costa Rica. Yeah, so why did I come on today? I was sitting in my car, per usual, and I just was feeling into the energies, these collective energies. Oh, you went to Bozeman too? I love Bozeman. Yeah, I was just feeling into the energies of what we're kind of experiencing, and I just wanted to share what I was feeling into. And what I'm experiencing right now. I think it's interesting. I don't know what you guys are feeling, but I truly have been feeling like the world, I'm opening a door and I'm walking out into a very different world. Like something about me is shifting and changing. And I know that we always talk about this, we're always shifting and changing. But it's like everything is a different color. I can't put I can't pinpoint exactly what this feels like, but it truly feels like something is very different. And I can't pinpoint it. But it's very different right now. And it's not in a bad way or a good way. It just feels to me like I am about to step into something that is very different. And the way I navigate these kinds of energies is I always know, I always know that everything is for my highest good. I always know this. I never think to myself, oh shit, I'm fucked. This is not going to turn out good. Any change that it's occurring around me, within me, anything that's happening in my life, I always look at as the greatest gift. It's happening for me. It's going to bring me into what I can't see, that I'm so excited for, that I don't even know what I'm excited for. And right now, it feels like we're learning how to balance, okay, the really uncomfortable shadow that we're seeing in the collective field, in the human collective field, like the corruption or the mind control and the dark stuff that's happening out there in the world, the things we don't like, the control, that kind of stuff, right? We're learning more and more how to be in that, i.e. how to feel it. okay, without associating as it. We're learning how to get more comfortable with our own shadow. Because regardless of how much shadow work you've done in your life, what we're doing right now is exponentially way more shadow work. Way more. Why? Because we're becoming more energetic. It's just what's happening. What happens when you become more energetic? You start to feel a lot more and you start to become the observer. What happens when you become the observer is everything gets a lot louder. Your relationships get louder. You can't ignore things. You can't hide things. You can't stuff things down anymore. You can't pretend. You can't deny. You can't shift out of or change, right? You have to really surrender into all that is coming up. And it's not going away. Okay. So in the past, last, 10, 15, 20 years ago, we would be able to kind of be in a denial state or an unconscious state, a numb state. And we could navigate life as if we were like breezing through it. Okay. For a lot of us, like life is great. We're nailing it, but we were really unconscious. What's happening now is that we are starting to sort of come online and realizing all the ways that we have been in this world and who we actually are and how we want to show up. And it's not a black or white. We have to be able to befriend all of the uncomfortable. We have to be able to befriend the out of controlness. We have to be able to befriend that which we don't want to see because it's not going anywhere. It's not going anywhere. Thank you so much for the badge, Danny. It's not going anywhere. And so we're learning as we are recognizing that the uncomfortable isn't going anywhere. We can't get out of it, right? And a lot of us have been in this state of like, when is this going to end? When am I going to shift out of this? And eventually we get so tired of fighting against what we're in that we start to surrender to it. And when you start to surrender to it, you then have to start to make a choice. Okay. And this choice is, if these things are going to keep coming up, right? Like uncertainty, stress, anxiety, worry, limiting thoughts, addictive behaviors, all these things that are going to be shown to you. Can I also begin to hold joy? Can I also begin to hold peace? Can I also begin to hold a sense of calm? You don't have to be an enlightened person to do this. You don't have to be healed to do this. You don't have to understand anything to do this. You just simply start choosing. You start to choose. Because the more you try to get out of something, the more you're going to be in it. And this massive evolutionary shift in consciousness that we're going through right now isn't ending anytime soon. It's not. So we are learning how to be in all of it. The more you wake up, the more you become an energized human. Thank you so much for the badges, you guys. The more you become alert, alive, on fire, lit up, the more you're going to be in the shit as well. And one of the things that I have that frustrates me at times is that there's this notion that we need to get out of the shitty, that we have to get out of the uncomfortable, that if we're in the, here's the ironic piece. If I allow myself to be in the uncomfortable, if I allow myself to be in the shitty, if I allow myself to surrender to the limiting thoughts, i.e. aware of the limiting thoughts, right? If I allow myself to befriend the behaviors I don't like, then I'm perpetuating it. Wrong. The way you perpetuate that which you don't want to be in is that you try to force yourself out of that which you don't want to be in. And what you do is you pretend that you're elsewhere in your reality so that you don't have to actually feel and be in what is truly your reality. So you're playing a game with yourself. You're putting on these glasses like, oh, no, everything's fine. I'm okay. I'm going to positive think my way, or I'm going to manifest something else. And all you're doing is putting on these glasses to pretend what's truly in front of you. We are in a quantum field. When you stand in a quantum field, you are not only experiencing light and love. When you stand in a quantum field in a third dimensional frequency, which is the dimensional field that we're standing in on this earth right now, you will feel all of it. All of it. And the more that you can remember that there's nothing wrong with feeling all of it, the more you will embrace all of it. The more you will try to find joy in the midst of wanting to scream and pull your hair out because you don't have money to pay your bills. The more you will find peace in the midst of anxiety and stress because you don't want to be in the relationship that you're in anymore. Instead of trying to get out of it, you recognize that there is nothing wrong with what you're in. And whatever that you are in, that is the transformational shifts in order to be able to befriend or bring in more of what you want. The second you deny, the second you pretend, the second you try to change or shift out of something is the moment you are denying what is the truest expression of what you're in. And when you remember that there's nothing wrong with what you're experiencing. It's called the human experience. It's you experiencing human in third dimensionality, which just means a spectrum of energies and consciousnesses and emotions and thoughts and beliefs and behaviors. And as the creator that you are, because you're the creator, okay, you have to be conscious of the creator that you are, which means you have to realize that your thoughts create your reality, right? And as a creator, as an empowered creator, you're not afraid of what you're experiencing in the now. And the way you create is not to deny or ignore what's in front of you, what you're feeling, what you're experiencing, what you're going through, right? You're in a relationship you don't want to be in. You want to change the relationship. You want to talk about the relationship. You're in a job that you don't want to be in, whatever it is. Instead of denying it, I don't want this, I don't want this, I don't want this, get me out of this. The creator is empowered. The creator says, look at what I'm in. Look at what I'm in right now. The creator says, there's nothing wrong with what I'm in. It just is what I'm in. What am I experiencing? What are my emotions? What are my thoughts? Wow, this sucks. Wow, I wish I wasn't in this. Right? You're observing yourself. You're empowering yourself, realizing that you're in something you don't want to be in. You're having compassion and empathy for yourself as you're in it. And then you start to be extremely humble and say, what do I want? What do I want? Do I believe that I can have it? Do I believe that I can have it? And then you sit back in this receptive space, allowing you to show you what's next. The problem with the human experience is that we try to stay in a controlled state. And a lot of times when we're in that controlled state, we're like a hamster. We're going like this over and over and over and over and over again. Right? So it's really, really difficult right now for so many of us because we have always been in this controlled state. It's safe. It's safe to control. But the way that you are being asked to be right now is out of control. In this receptive, surrendered state where something bigger than you, which is you, is pulling you. And it may look like things disappearing, things falling out of your life, people showing up in ways that you are not resonating with anymore, right? All kinds of ways that this is going to show up. But when we stop resisting, when we stop fighting against it, when we start remembering, right? When you start remembering what's happening here, what you're in, what you're experiencing, what you're going through, you start to say, screw it. Give me more fun. Give me more joy. Don't take life so seriously. If I'm in this, let me dance a little bit more. Let me sing a little bit more. The moment you stop trying to get out of it is the moment you start to live. The moment you stop taking life so seriously, the moment you stop trying to change people, the moment you stop trying to wake people up, the moment you stop trying to heal yourself, you just allow yourself to be healed by the present moment over and over and over, is the moment you really start living. It's the moment that you show you what you've been waiting for. It's the moment that you literally start wowing yourself. And it's going to feel like you are stepping out into a very different world. A very different world. And if you're experiencing anything like me, what I'm experiencing right now, it feels like every way that I thought I was going to be, it's like it's shifting. It's like there's this simplicity that's starting to unravel for me. A coming back home to me, but in a simple way. Like, I don't know how to explain this, just very simple. And finding joy. What makes you happy, Lori? What brings you happiness? Stop trying to change the world, right? Stop trying to figure out how you're going to do this or how you're going to do that. Drop into more joy. Let the world just unravel the way it's going to unravel. Surrender, let go. Just let go. Let go of trying to do life. There's this weird energy of letting go of trying to do life, where life moves you. It's like a magic pill where it's like, oh shit, if I just follow joy as much as I can. It's not easy, okay? Because again, we are so black or white. This human experience is so black or white. It's absurd. It's like you're either in positive thoughts or you're in negative thoughts. You know, you're either healing or you're not healing. You're either good or bad. There's like, get rid of that and embrace the multifaceted rainbow color of everything being experienced at once. So I can find joy, and I can find peace, and I can find calm while I am literally struggling with things being pulled from my life. Because the more that I can do that, the more I'm in a surrendered state, flowing and just allowing the world to show me what's next. Show me what's next because I do not know. Show me what's next because I don't know. Stop pretending like you know everything, because you don't. I can hold an intention of what I want, but most likely it's not going to turn out the way I'm expecting it to. If you're truly, truly honest with yourself, it's the ego that has the expectation of how it's supposed to go. It's the ego that wants it to be a certain way. And listen, in manifestation, okay, if you're manifesting from the ego, it's going to turn out exactly how you thought it was going to be. But it's not the highest expression of that manifestation. The highest expression of any manifestation is surprising you, is showing up not in the way you expected it, is wowing you beyond what you intended or manifested. Always. So just remember that. When you try to manifest something and you have all these lists, right? It's going to look like this, and it's going to be like this, and it's going to feel like that. You are literally stopping the highest expression of that manifestation. So you want to literally say to yourself, I know nothing so that I can see it all. I surrender to knowing nothing. I surrender to feeling completely out of control. I surrender to this quantum, multifaceted, holy shit life that I'm in. What if there is a part of me that is absolutely unequivocally guiding me right now and I just can't see him or her? What if? What if I don't need to drive the ship? What if I'm learning how to surrender and slow down, even though you feel like you've already been slow? You've already been slowing down. What if now it's a moment of absolute surrendering into the part of you you can't see that's driving you, that's leading the ship for you, and you don't know what it's going to look like? You think that you're supposed to do this and do this and offer these things and do this kind of a job. And out of the blue, when you least expect it, the universe, your higher self pops something else in and you're like, holy shit, this is it. This is it. This feels right. I never would have imagined it was this. I never would have imagined. And the only way that you get there is by letting go of trying to control anything. And by surrendering into and feeling everything that pops up. Everything. Stop trying to pretend that you're anything other than who you are. Stop trying to be anything other than who you are. Stop trying to be like anybody else. Stop saying things that are not your truest truth. Stop trying to do things to fit in so that you'll be liked or loved or seen. What we're learning and what we're remembering is that there has never, ever, ever been anything wrong with us. I say this a lot, and I truly believe this. We dropped in and incarnated into a planet, right, that's pretty intense. And it's not our fault that we experienced trauma. It's not our fault that we experienced programming, mind control, all the stuff that we've gone through our whole lives. And think about how often throughout your days you blame yourself. You blame yourself for what you're experiencing, for what you're feeling, for what you're thinking. I shouldn't be feeling this. I need to be more secure. I need to be more confident. What's wrong with me? Why am I having these limiting beliefs, etc.? You beat yourself up all day long for something that is truly just you choosing to incarnate into the human experience. The more that you can realize that you're just having the human experience, and it is crazy. And it's intense. The more you'll be able to have compassion for yourself as you go through it all. Because we are all becoming who we have always been. That's what we're doing right now. All the labels, all the programs, all the different communities that we find ourselves in, the rules that are in those communities, the way that we're supposed to be. So many of us are living lives that are restricted, that are not fully us being free. Truly being all of who we are, expressing ourselves in every way that we feel we want to or need to. And it's an enslavement. And I really, really, really believe, I truly believe that the more that we can remember this quantum field we're in, which is that there is a variety of Skittles that you get to experience all day long. And there is nothing wrong with any Skittle that you're experiencing. Purple, red, orange, it's all part of the experience. There's nothing wrong with any of it. It's just you becoming more aware of who you are being as the human in that experience. And if you knew and remembered that in every single moment right now, we are becoming more and more of who we have always been, Every moment, we're becoming more and more of who we have always been. Wouldn't you surrender a little bit more to what you're experiencing? Pay attention, pay close attention to anything that moves you into a controlled state. A controlled state is counterintuitive to how energy moves. Anytime you are trying to control anything, you are basically saying to yourself and the world that you don't trust the highest expression, which is energy. You don't trust what is being unfolded for you, which you will never be able to control. You can never control the energies. Higher self, which is you, a version of you that you're embodying more and more, doesn't control anything because it knows that everything that it is experiencing is for its highest good. And there are a lot of old, deep programs that tell us to be in control, to push forward, to push through, to effort. It makes sense, okay? It assists humans in not being in a suffering or suffered state. We don't like to feel suffering, struggle, pain, uncomfortableness, because we have forgotten why we feel it. Again, if you remember that you're in a quantum field where everything is experienced in every moment, how could you possibly deny, pretend, or try to fix the uncomfortable? Especially if you remembered that if everything is energy, energy moves. Energy doesn't stop. Just like water. The only time water stops is when somebody puts up a dam and stops it. Water is designed to move. You stick it in a cup, it has nowhere to go, it's going to anchor in, it's going to stop. If you ignore or deny what you are experiencing, the energy is going to stop. It's going to stick in your body. Welcome to trauma. You can deny all you want what is moving through your body as energy. And you can try to effort and control and change and fix. It still needs to move through your body. And if you don't let it move through your body, guess what's going to happen? It's going to stay in your body. If water wants to move through and you're like, I don't like that water, I'm going to stop it. Guess what? That water doesn't go anywhere. It doesn't dissolve. You can't positive think your way to dissolve that water. It goes nowhere. It hangs out right in front of you and just builds up and builds up and builds up. Eventually, you have to look at the water that you don't want to look at and open the dam and let it just be. Let it flow. But we don't like that, because what if the water doesn't feel good? What if the water's uncomfortable? You say to yourself, there's a lot of these teachings that say, well, if you feel into that, if you pay attention to that, right? There's this idea of where your attention goes, that's the reality. I call bullshit on that, and I'll tell you why. If you're having an experience, okay, and that experience is creating energy, i.e. water through you, and you're saying to yourself, I can't look at that, I can't pay attention to that, because if I pay attention to that, that becomes your reality. It is your reality. It's what's moving through your fucking body. You're not creating that, you're experiencing that. And so the moment you say, oh, I better not pay attention to that, the water, the energy is just going to go into your body. And because you think that you can't look at it, because if you look at it, then it already is. So then it just hangs out. Energy's like, oh, I guess she's going to ignore this. right? And then it builds up in your body. Heaviness, density, trauma, shadow, all this stuff builds up. And then you're spending life trying to ignore what is truly being experienced within you. Because you're told by all these external things out there not to focus on it, not to pay attention to it. Because if you do, it becomes a reality. It's like, dude, it doesn't become a reality. It is a reality if you're feeling it. We got to start to become more quantum, which is who we are. We have to remember that we're energy and we're energetic. And there's a difference between when you believe that you are what you're experiencing. Okay, like I am this pain, I am this struggle, I am this anxiety, I am this depression. When you believe that, then you anchor it into your reality. You don't allow it to move through you, and you're pulling it along with your day. And that's why we have all these books and all these teachings on how to shift your mindset. You don't need those teachings when you know that you're none of it. If you know you're not anything you're experiencing, you don't need to change your mindset. You don't need to change anything because you're none of it. If you're none of it, why would you need to change any of it? If you remember how energy works, just like water, it just needs to move through you by feeling. Not associating or attaching, guess what happens? You just start flowing through life. You start trusting in a way that you never have before. You start remembering, holy fuck, the universe and the world and myself, my higher self, I'm going to start wowing myself even when I don't know what the hell's going on. Even when I don't have a job I like, even when I don't know how money's going to come. If you start becoming more energetic, which means you just start to feel and you start trusting in something bigger than you being the ego. When you start trusting in an aspect of you that is designed to lead you energetically, you start wowing yourself. You start wowing yourself. This is what's happening. This is what we're going through. This is it. It's not spiritual. It's not, enlightenment. It's not perfecting anything. It's not sitting in a cave and meditating for hours upon hours. It's quite simply remembering that you are here to be a human, experiencing all of the shit show, all of the greatness, all of it, as the quantum skittle, as you become more and more energetic, as you step out of the dense physical reality that has convinced you that you are that physical reality, that's convinced you that you need something outside of you to save you, to help you, to heal you. I'm not saying that that's not necessary. I'm saying that what is becoming of us is this awareness that we are none of that. And the more that we can be the observer of everything we're feeling and thinking and seeing, and we don't make it right or wrong, we stop pretending that we're these evolved spiritual beings. That is such utter bullshit. In the quantum field, you're all of it. You're every skittle in the rainbow. You're every starburst color. You're every mamba color. I love mambas. You're every mamba color. So you're not trying to be anything. You're not, the way you become the observer, I was giving a tip to this the other day. One of the ways that you can start to become an observer is put something on your hand that when you look at it, you'll remember to observe yourself. Put a ring on a finger that you normally don't. Put your watch on the other hand. Put a sticky note on you. I don't know. Mark something on your hand. Do something so that when you see it throughout your day, you'll say, I'm an observer. I'm observing. And what does the observer feel? What's it like when you become an observer? You're seeing yourself from a third party. Lori is feeling this. Lori is thinking this. Lori is doing this. Lori is being human. Lori is feeling lonely. Lori is wanting to seclude herself. Lori is now watching Netflix, right? That's becoming the observer. You detach. You're not any of it. And that is when you start to have so much trust. You start to step into so much freedom. So much freedom. There's a lot changing for us, you guys. There's a lot shifting always, but right now it's like there's miracles or magic. You know, miracles and magic. So let yourself wow you. Stop trying to think that you know how it's going to go. Let things get pulled from you. Sink deeper in this quantum skittle that you're in, right? The quantum skittle, that everything is allowed to be experienced. There is no such thing as high vibe and low vibe, okay? There really isn't. It's just the quantum field being experienced. The more we can stop with that stupid divide of like, you've got to be a high vibe or a low vibe, the more you're going to just start living as an energetic human. That's it. Who cares if you're in a high vibe or a low vibe if you're not truly surrendered into what you are experiencing in every now? That's the greatest gift that you can give yourself. Not trying to be a certain way. Trying to master something or perfect something. The true master is the person that isn't afraid of experiencing anything and isn't trying to truly only experience high vibe, because that's all bullshit anyways. Everyone is pretending to be in a high vibe if they're not fully being present in the quantum field. In the quantum field, you're experiencing every skittle. You're either denying it or you're truly being present with it, which means you're going to feel anger. You're going to feel resentment, perhaps. You may feel irritability. You may feel rage all of a sudden because you're in the quantum skittle. Does that mean you're a bad person? Does that mean you're unevolved? Does that mean you're not spiritual? You may feel jealous all of a sudden out of nowhere. Holy shit, I feel jealous. That's bad. You know? You may get triggered, okay? Just keep remembering you're in the quantum skittle and everything is allowed to be experienced. The true master isn't afraid of anything. The true master isn't trying to move into a high vibe. The true master doesn't try to change their frequency. The true master is so confident in who they are and what they're experiencing, whether they like it or not, that they're in a deep surrendered state to it. And they are unconditionally and compassionately loving themselves through it. That's the true master. Being unapologetically whatever they're experiencing, just being in it. You know, did you ever hear like, you know, a specific like powerful master that you may have followed, like a Ram Dass or something? Did you ever hear him say, I'm moving myself into a high vibe? I shift my frequency into high vibes? No. Ram Dass was always just so brutally honest about his human experience and how he navigated everything and how he saw everything. He was so human while simultaneously understanding his human experience. So many of us have been pretending to be something other than we are. Think of any master that you listened to. Not a guru, okay? They never said, here's how you raise your vibration. Here's how you shift into a high frequency. Never. They simply talked about the human experience. They simply talked about how to see it from a different lens. Through humility and grace and compassion and empathy. Start remembering. Yeah, he took a lot of drugs. Ram Dass took a lot of drugs. But, he saw the world the way he saw the quantum field. He understood the quantum field. As soon as you start understanding the quantum field, and that's not spiritual. It just is. This is the thing I'm like, I am adamant. I mean, I hope that, I am adamant about truly breaking out of this spiritual program. This spiritual kind of box. Because this isn't spiritual. This is truly just remembering how the quantum field works. That's it. We label it spiritual. We label it all these things. But it's not. I swear to God, it's simply physics. The way I see everything is just physics, i.e. energy. It sucks that it has to be boxed into this idea of spiritual, new age, all these bullshit titles. It's not. When you're simply remembering how to unravel the quantum field as an energetic being who's in a physical form, you start to realize that all the labels and the boxes and the this and the that, it's all bullshit. It's so simple. This human experience is so freaking simple. Complex because of everything you experience, but it's simple. It is simply you remembering that you are in density, energetic, learning how to navigate the shit show. That's it. Beautiful shit show. Shit show. And having compassion for yourself as you go up and down and all around, and you don't understand it, and you don't have money, and you don't have a job, and you don't have a relationship you like, and giving yourself compassion for all the emotions you feel around that, the breakdowns, the wanting to quit, the wanting to get out of this life, all of that. It's all the human experience. It's all you in physical form experiencing energy. And there is no such thing as perfection. And there's no such thing as mastering it. And there's no such thing as evolving out of it. There's no such thing as not feeling pain or sadness. There's no such thing as not feeling the skittles of this quantum field, because you're standing in the quantum field. And the more we can surrender to that, the more we can devour it, the more we can befriend. The easier it is to feel it all. The reason that the pain can hurt so bad is because there's an aspect of you that still believes that you're that pain. So it's baby steps. It's baby steps. When you are experiencing a lot of pain, whether it's emotional pain or mental pain or whatever, can you start to remind yourself that you are experiencing an energy that you're calling pain that doesn't feel good? Can you start to observe that it's in the body, that it's moving through the body? Can you do tiny little things that starts to separate yourself from connecting to it as you? That's what you want to start practicing. Truly. The more that we believe that we are what we're experiencing, the more challenging it becomes. And it's tiny little baby steps over and over and over again. The reason that people are like, I'm feeling so much, I don't like how I'm feeling so much, it's because you are believing that you are what you're feeling. Whether you realize that or not. So just pay attention to that. Because the more that we are becoming energetic, i.e. feeling more and more and more, it gets intense. It's imperative that we become the observer. It's imperative. What am I feeling right now? What am I feeling right now? What am I feeling? I'm not any of it. I'm safe to feel it. I'm safe to feel it. I'm safe to stand in the quantum skittle field and just eat all the different Skittles. All the different flavors of Skittles or Mambas. Do you guys know what Mambas are? Dude, I loved Mambas. I still love Mambas. Like, I'll eat the shit out of Mambas. I don't even know what Mambas are made out of. I don't even want to know. Like, gooey, what is Mambas made out of? Do you guys know what Mambas are? I don't like the orange Mambas. Orange Mambas are the worst. And by the way, Mamba is a really weird word. Why would you name candy Mambas? Oh my God, Mambas are so good. I love the quantum Skittles. Oh my God, I loved Airheads. Those were really good. Mambas. They're like chewy, square, chewy things that are like pretty sure not supposed to be digested at all. But they're so good. So good. You've only had orange. That's the worst flavor. They do stick to your teeth. Corn syrup, sugar, I'm sure. I don't even know what else is in there. Anywho, all right. They are better than Starbursts. That's for darn sure. They're better than most gummies. I don't know what Gushers are. Oh my God, you love the orange flavor. How could you love the orange flavor? I eat the orange Skittles to get rid of them first. Why don't you just throw them away? Sugar, glucose. Oh my God, I don't even want to read that. Sometimes it's so hard to feel happy. Why is that emotion so hard to feel? Well, you never want to try to feel something. You never want to push or effort to try to feel something. You know, a lot of times when we try to feel something, we are efforting into something, which many times means we're sort of denying what we're in. It's this weird dichotomy of truly surrendering to what you're experiencing. It's like, the best way that I can describe this is, and this isn't what we normally do. This is definitely not what we're taught. But imagine that you're in your life and it sucks and you hate it and you're uncomfortable and you're just like, I need to get out of this. I need to get out of this. I need to get out of this, right? Instead of wanting to change it or wanting to feel happy or wanting to feel joy or all those things, right? What if you practiced receiving what you're in? It's a different energy. Being receptive to what you're in means I know that I'm safe to feel it. I know that it's going to change. I know that it's not permanent. You see, the reason that we are afraid of what we're experiencing is because we believe that we are what we're experiencing and we believe it's going to stay. So if we believe that it's going to stay, we're scared shitless and we want to change it. Everything's energy. Nothing's designed to stay. The second you remember that, you can start to be receptive to what you're in. So when you're receptive, there's this energy of, like, your hands are up. I'm going to drop so deeply into this. I'm going to drop so deeply into this. I'm going to stop fighting. I'm going to stop fighting. What if I just allowed? What if I just allowed this? What if I dropped into it, befriended it, allowed it, and knew that it wasn't going to stay? What if I knew that it wasn't permanent? What if you knew? Instead of trying to find yourself in happiness, what if you stopped trying to find happiness? Because happiness is right there. It's in the quantum field. But you have to be able to surrender to what you're in order to receive what else is here. And that's what I was saying in the beginning. The more that we can surrender, be receptive, befriend what we're in, we can start to bring in joy. Because we're not resisting what we're in, so we're surrendering and opening to it all. We're allowing it to just be. And then we're like, you know what? I'm safe feeling this shitty shit. I'm safe. I'm good. It's going to shift. It's going to change. I don't have to control it. Let me find a little joy right now. Let me find a little self-care right now. You're juggling. You're being like a multidimensional magician juggler. You juggle it. Does that make sense? All right. It's not going to make sense to everyone, but it's how I've been living my life. And I don't find myself in a lot of resistance, you know? I don't find myself trying to do much changing. I feel pretty receptive and open to whatever the universe wants to show me or me wants to show myself. All right, you guys. I love you. I will save this. Be gentle with yourself. Find a little more joy if you can. Finding it, meaning being receptive and open to what you're in, knowing that it's going to change always because it's energy, and juggling more of the quantum skittle. I love you.